Oh boy, everybody. At least this go around, there was a decent amount of excitement at the end there. Um, Felt like for a second they were really going to, maybe pull this one off, scoring those two goals late. Um, but yeah, I mean, there is just no beating around the bush. This is five losses in a row. It's painful. Another one that was, against not a great team, and right before we head into a murderous row of an upcoming schedule. Um, yeah, but there was, as I was watching, there was some stuff that I thought the Kraken did improve on, which was nice to see, and then some more of the same old stuff from them that was, it's getting really rough to continue seeing some of the mistakes that they keep making, or just some of the decisions they keep making, whether it's players or the coaching staff. Um, it's 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 getting wonky, that's for sure. But it is good to see everybody in chat once again. I am back down in Southern California. Flew in earlier today. Been up since 3:30, so don't mind me if a yawn sneaks in or something like that tonight. RJ will join us after the media availability session, per usual. I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying, for the first time ever, tonight's postgame live is sponsored by somebody. We are being sponsored by FOCO, which is like a licensed collectibles and merchandise, some apparel. They're a company that does that kind of stuff for sporting teams. I have a link in the description to this to their Kraken page, and then a little bit later, once the viewers kind of reach what our normal peak is, I'll go more into depth because they've got some pretty exciting Kraken stuff that we're going to talk to you guys about from the collectible side of things for the inaugural season. So, but definitely want to tell everybody that that's out there. Hang around for that if you guys all could. That would be awesome. Jumping right into chat, obviously. Hello, Darkness, my old friend. Very apt, Sergeant Pickles. Too little, too late, unfortunately. Although this, I really felt, was their best use of pulling the goalie. Not that that was a high bar to clear. But they made some good use of that, about having the extra skater out there playing a little bit more disciplined, or really a lot more disciplined, with their own empty net. Let's see. Hacksaw continues to show he's out of his depth. That's from Jeff. Yeah, I mean, it's just Hacksaw continues to show that he doesn't want to work on some things that obviously need to be worked on. That's unfortunate, and that's getting a little old, if you ask me. Lindsay, all I know is pain. Hunter, free Will Borgen. No idea when the Will Borgen thing's going to come in. I was pretty surprised that we saw Fleury out there instead of Susie, because I thought Susie had been playing pretty good. And then obviously Fleury had some issues, especially on that first goal. Sergeant Pickles, I have no idea how they come out so flat on multiple days rest. I don't either. I don't know what their issue is starting games right now. There is no excuse for it. At some point, you got to be able to come out of the gates better. Because again, tonight it wasn't until a couple minutes into the second period that it looked like they were really hitting their stride and coming all together. It's been rough, sad days. Hello, fellow Emerald City therapists. Patience. Tonight's session should be sponsored by Tylenol PM because that loss was painless. And that game was a snoozer for Kraken fans. That's from Alex. Yeah, it was a rough one, but remember, this is sponsored by FOCO, FOCO.com. Throw that in there. First period was absolute poop. 3 shots on goal. Yikes. Yes, they could not establish anything offensively. First time all season. The one thing we had been avoiding, that I was actually really happy we had been avoiding, was the dump and chase. And what did we see tonight through the first period and then into the second period some? A lot of dump and chase. Like, where did that come from? Whose idea was that to break out to try to, end the slump? I don't know. That was very curious to me, and not in a good way. Not happy to see that. Striatic, I'm so happy the game was on TNT, and so it was the first Kraken game our family didn't watch. We still had lingering Hulu after switching to Fubo for the first TNT Kraken game. Sorry, you missed it, Striatic. That's That sucks. Hunter, can we please stop the dump and chase for my sanity? It's so unpleasant to watch. Yeah, and they just full on embraced it for that first period tonight, and that's why they only had three shots on goal, because they were essentially just handing the Blackhawks the puck half the time for no reason. Um, it's a bummer. Sergeant Pickles might have hit his insurance limit already. Oof. Let's see. Guys need to shoot, man. So many missed opportunities. Blazing King Gaming. Yes. So that's the number one thing I think for this team. Why do we still have an issue shooting the puck? Why do we, yes, there's the guys like Wenberg that just seem to have this total aversion to shooting the puck, regardless of circumstance, regardless of anything. But really, the team has kind of taken on that mentality as a whole as well. Don't understand it at all. I think the team has to very much take on a goal scorer's mentality, which is the moment the puck touches your stick, you are sending it towards the net. One of the big things with this team is even when they do shoot, almost everybody except for McCann, will always settle the puck down before they shoot, which either gives the goaltender time to get over, or it gives a defenseman or opposing team's forward time to get over and then block the shot lane, because you know exactly what the guy is doing at that point. So it's all very telegraphed. You look at all the great goal scorers throughout history, the moment the puck touches their stick, it's gone. It doesn't matter if they're going to, like, you look at the Yanni Gourde opportunity from earlier in this game, the great save that Flower made for the Blackhawks. But again, it's Gourde gets it. If he just sends it, it's only going to be sliding along the ice. It's not going to have a ton of power to it, but it's still going to get through most likely because Flower isn't there yet. And instead he settles it. He's able to lift it, but it doesn't matter because that extra time allows Flower to get over and get over with his upper body, not just with his leg pad. So it didn't matter that he settled it down to lift it, because it's a timing issue. It's not about a placement issue. It's not a placement issue. It's a timing issue. You have to just send that. Alex Ovechkin would have just sent that. He would not have tried to settle it down and then ripped a shot off, right? All the great goal scorers just send that puck. And that's a thing that a lot of the players on the Kraken have issues with. If you look, a lot of times, guys, especially the defensemen, they all like to settle the puck, but that just gives the goaltender and the defense times to, get in the shot lane and take away that opportunity. Really, really, really want to see that mentality change for this team as a whole. And then Wenberg, it's even worse. He just needs to start shooting, just straight up. Why are they getting worse as the season goes on? That's from Lindsay. I don't know that they're getting worse. It's just that they're not fixing the things that they need to be fixing, and that's what's frustrating. I just talked about the shooting mentality. I have the whiteboard drawn up for something else, and that's their whole, we got to send 3 forwards to one side of the net in the offensive zone because that's our best way of dealing with the puck. I don't understand that one. I'll break that down in a little bit. I'm going to try to catch up on chat first. Got to start playing before the second period, 1,000%. Held Chicago to 19 shots, 18 shots, excluding the one on the empty net. Yes, again, they played a pretty good game defensively. They did a good job for the most part. I know it doesn't seem like it looking at the box score. They did a good job for the most part of handling the better Chicago players. I know they ended up on the box score, but it was another instance of, you look at all 3 goals from Chicago, those were the 3 defensive breakdowns for this team, right? They were all odd man rushes or breakaway opportunities. Those happen to every team through every game. It's just for some reason with the Kraken, every time it results in a goal. So, if you're only going to give up 3 through a game, somehow for the Kraken, those end up all as goals, and that's why you lose this one. I don't know if that's something that's going to get better, because I felt like, Grubauer played a really, really good game. I thought compared to the way he had been playing, this was a very, very good game for Grubauer. It was just, that first goal, no goalie's going to stop that. That's just a defensive breakdown all the way around. Hayden Fleury has to play that pass better. The second one, why is Alexiak not bodying up to Brinkett? He's a full foot taller and 100 pounds heavier, and, there's no reason not to be laying him out. I understand you don't want to take the penalty, much less like a penalty shot type situation, but Alexiak was enough to the side of him that you're going to get away with that. You can level him. You can at least body him up and make it hard to get that shot off, and instead he was just trying to poke check it. But it's like, dude, you have to understand that you have a size advantage against just about everybody in this league, and you got to start using it. And, that has been something we've brought up, here or there, whatever, right, through the season. But that second goal, that DeBrincat goal, that was the issue there. And Alexiak's just got to get more comfortable playing physically in situations like that, especially when he's got the positioning to avoid an obvious penalty. Good to see everybody again. It is good to see everybody. I am happy that, despite the end results of these games, everybody does still come here. Very thankful for that. Thanks, everybody. So we're not going to win another game in November, huh? Maybe Buffalo, but at this rate, yeah, the remaining schedule does look really rough, and I have questions. I'm sure we'll win one of them. I couldn't tell you which one and for what reason. Odds are we will. I highly doubt this team's going to lose, their next 65 games in a row. And I doubt that they'll have a really long losing streak. They are still too talented for that, too deep for that. But again, it's going to be one where, something's going to have to break our way for it to happen, unfortunately. Four Horsemen, wow, we came out flat. Yes, we did, yet again. Good to have met you in person the other day at the practice facility. That was cool. Maybe this crazy focus on shot suppression isn't worth whatever is causing all these odd man rushes and breakaways. Yeah, I agree. The breakaways thing has to stop. It's got to end. I don't know why they continue to happen, other than doing things like the dump and chase, right? When you're just throwing the puck into the offensive zone and you're trying to go get it, the opposing team's defense basically has first crack at the puck. Right? So if they're able to make a quick pass up to their half boards and then to a speedy winger, and now all of a sudden all the momentum's going the other way, your forwards have all committed to going in deep into the offensive zone, trying to win that puck battle for the puck initially. So if things get going the other way, you end up with 3-on-2s, which is what we saw on that first Blackhawks goal. That was, it was a 3-on-2 for the Blackhawks, and they just, bing, bang, boom, and Grubauer had no shot at it. It's just crazy. Hayden's first 3.5 minutes was brutal. Fell on a bad turnover. Yes, it was rough for him. Two possibilities about to happen. They get miracle wins against good teams, or this whole thing implodes. That's from Sergeant Pickles. Yeah, I think they're going to get a win or two. Again, as Giordano said, as we've all been kind of expecting, just because of the way hockey is, once they get a win, totally capable of stringing together a few in a row. When that happens, why that happens, those are the question marks, and this team is making it very, very hard to see how or why that would happen and when it'll happen, which is rough, and it is frustrating as a fan. You would think dominating shots on goal would turn into more wins. You would. Again, over an 82 game sample size, it generally will. But right now, it's just they're either running into hot goaltending or really they're just not creating high percentage chances for themselves right now, and that's just rough to see. Grubauer needs to get a break and work on some stuff. He started 13 out of 16 games and is on pace for 66 starts. That's way too much, even if he would be playing well. I agree. I think we all want to see Driedger get some more work in. I think they keep running Grubauer out until he has a good game, just because they want to give him that confidence. And again, I would grade his game tonight as a good game. It's just his team really let him down on this one. But I think at this point, Driedger has to be a net for the next one. I just think you have to send that message if you're Hackstall. Let's see here. We really want Shane Wright. It's from Clowney. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we totally want him yet. I mean, yes, it'd be nice to have, but yeah, and then everybody referencing the Foco thing. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and do that real quick right now, just because we're up to 50 viewers. So yes, Foco was nice enough to sponsor us today. They're really making a marketing push for their new Kraken merchandise, particularly their new collectibles, including these awesome Seattle Kraken bobbleheads to honor the inaugural season. So here you can see the 5 that they have up for pre-order right now: Adam Larson, Jordan Eberle, Philip Grubauer, Mark Giordano, and Jaden Schwartz. So of course, the captains, the 3 assistants, and the goalie. I think these are really awesome looking bobbleheads. I love the Kraken tentacles kind of breaking through at the bottom of them. The fact that they've got the ocean buoy back there, adding to the theme. I thought the likenesses are all really really good for these. So I'm really excited to see these bobbleheads. Obviously, long tradition in sports, including hockey. So it's nice to see that we do have access to some of these. For the Kraken's inaugural season. And then the one that I am also really, really excited for is, and they don't have a picture yet of it, is this one, which is there to honor Ryan Donato scoring the first goal in franchise history. So that one is also up for pre-order on their website. Again, link is below in the description, and we also tweeted out a link earlier today on our Twitter account, so you guys can all go there for that too. So thanks again to FOCO, again foco.com, link in the description so you guys can go check that out. They also have, Kraken masks and some other fun stuff for you to go check out. So yes, thank you for the shout out for that. Right, let's see. I'm proud they got goals on the power play and the 6-on-5. I am too. It was nice to see another power play goal. They played aggressive on that power play. I liked it. Lots of puck movement. Scoring off a rebound is great. Jared McCann, he is just the man for this team. I would love for more guys to start scoring on this team beyond just him and Eberle, but for the moment, I will take it. And then the 6-on-5. RJ did say yesterday at practice they worked a lot on the 6-on-5, and it showed tonight. I really do believe so. So that is awesome. Defense did the same thing, all chasing the same offenseman, leaving others wide open from Four Horsemen. Yes, that again, it's a common theme, but I think it's starting to happen more and more from the offensive zone, leading to bad transitions the other way. This is almost kind of right back where we started in that very first Vegas game, where things get a little rough there. But yes, and thanks for all the kind wishes about the sponsorship, guys. Let's see, this is from Irish Lad. 939 save percentage for one of the two Vezina finalists in this game, 833 for the other. Guess which one plays for the Kraken? What is wrong with CD that he cannot get a game? I don't know. Like I said, I think it's one of these things where they're just trying to get Grubauer confident again. They're just trying to have him have one breakthrough game, and then they can, kind of rest him. But yes, Drieger's got to start playing more at this point. If anything, just to send the message to the rest of the team, right? Make the defensemen, make the forwards, make everybody kind of be like, okay, hey, we're letting down our guy back there, and see if they can step up their game. Think I'm ready for a string of Drieger starts to see if he can get hot and maybe save those breakaway chances that continue to happen. Yeah, they are high percentage chances that the Kraken are giving up, so any goalie will have a hard time with them. But yes, I think at this point, Drieger's got a better shot at getting hot than Grubauer does. Part of the reason, Sergeant Pickles, that Grubauer has a poor save percentage is he's facing few shots like we saw tonight, right? Really, he only faced 18 shots, but if he's facing 3 super high percentage shots and they go in, that's it's going to wreck your save percentage. It's a lot easier to have a good save percentage for the teams that have goalies that'll face 40 shots, but they're all low percentage chances, so they can just rack up a bunch of easy saves. That's why save percentage is it's a useful stat at times, but it maybe doesn't always show the whole picture. This is from Ferris, that the passing is not crisp at all in the first 2 periods. Passing continues to be a problem for this team, and I think that just goes back to their lack of systems in the offensive zone. So many times we see guys carry the puck into the offensive zone, and they don't really know where to go with it, right? They're just kind of flying by the seat of their pants. If you watch just about every other team in the league, or literally every other team in the league, there is some form of system in place so that if a guy carries the puck into the offensive zone up the middle, he knows where someone else is going to be, so he can kind of throw the puck into that general direction. The Kraken don't really have that consistent system right now, so guys don't really know what to do. That causes them to hesitate while they kind of scan and look for an open teammate, and by that point, the defense can get into the passing lane. They can try to really pressure the puck carrier, force a turnover, all that stuff. You want them to know where people are going to be so that they can just make a play. They don't have to stop and scan as they're entering the offensive zone all the time. But the Kraken just, for whatever reason, don't really have that. And, so at first it seems like it might be just a chemistry thing, right? Hackstall keeps shuffling all the lines, so guys are just not quite used to each other's speed, that kind of thing. But I really think it's more of a system issue, because even if you have that system, then you don't have to worry about, okay, I got half my lines changed. So guys that aren't used to playing with each other are out there. Well, if the team is playing the same system, guys can still function that way. Or there's an injury, so the lines have to be shuffled mid-game. If you've got that system, everybody can continue to play with each other. And that's what you see from other teams. You saw that a couple times from the Blackhawks tonight. They knew where their teammates were supposed to be, regardless of who that teammate was, just because they understood what their system was. Kraken need to have a system for the offensive zone. Seemingly the only system they have is this weird triangle thing. Let me go ahead and bring in the whiteboard for this. I know I'm really behind on chat. I'll try to make this quick, guys. So I'm using the magnets tonight instead of the markers. If you look at these kind of like lime green ones as the Kraken, and then the orangish red ones as the Blackhawks, this is a pretty typical setup for the Kraken in the offensive zone. You have your, one guy with the puck, usually he's fighting for the puck along the boards down low. You have someone else slide over to this face-off dot, and then you've got your guy in front of the net. This defenseman, he's going to hang around there in case the puck's going to come back out along the boards. The other defenseman kind of shifts over as well. Well, what we see happen game in, game out is really one of two things, but they both result in a turnover, which is the guy who's battling for the puck here either tries to send it around behind the net, in which case, any one of these defenders can make a play on it. Usually it's this guy who's just going to slide up and pick it off there. Or if it's really quick, again, rim it around. All of a sudden it ends up over here. Who's the closest player to that? Well, it's the other team. Okay, so that's an issue. The other thing we'll see them try to do is they'll try to send it out to this guy here at the dot, but it'll come really fast, and this guy is never prepared for it. And it's generally not a good pass because you've got a guy totally on you. And so what ends up happening is they send it gets right past him, and then it's just this like battle between these two guys, and it's really easy for the opposing team to have multiple players all break up on the puck as it somehow just ends up vaguely in this area. You end up with a 3-on-1, and we've seen that happen several times. But it's all because they just try to put 4 of their 5 guys that committed to one side, and no other team really does that. I don't know why they continue to do that. It clearly doesn't work. That is not the system that they need. It's not the system that they should be running. It's not working at all. That one's got to change. Let's see here. I'm going to try to speed run through some comments and catch up a little bit. We are 0-6 after trailing in the second period. Yep, third period's got to be better. Signs of life on that tonight, though. So that is the one positive to take away. Kraken do have multiple goals scored with the goalie pulled this season, so that is, something nice, I guess. It's a positive to take away, something to build off of. Defense needs to get better at communicating when they're going to pinch so that a forward is back to cover them. Were all their goals off the rush? Yes, all the goals were off the rush. That is something that needs to happen. You even heard the broadcasters reference that tonight, right? Just not a lot of communication from the Kraken tonight. That is something that they need to get better with. The other thing is, again, if the defensive pairings were consistent, I think that would help, just because they'd get used to playing with the different forward groups. They get to be used to playing with each other as D partners. I think at some point that shuffling of chairs needs to settle down if we want the guys to get a little more comfortable and maybe not need to communicate. Like, there are times where you don't need to communicate because you know how this other guy plays. You always know where he's going to be. Those are the hallmarks of really good defensive pairings. But if they just keep getting shuffled around, that kind of awareness for your partner just isn't going to develop. When was the last time we weren't playing from behind? Honest question. I really couldn't tell you. I guess it would have been in that Arizona game. If I'm being honest, I think it was in that Arizona game, because I don't think, or in the Vegas game. I think there was 1 or 2 times where we were ahead in the Vegas game. But again, that you're talking over a week now and several games ago. Remember to plug your hoodies and merch. That is true. Lots of great people have been putting out stuff on Twitter, showing off their Geeky Squad stuff. So that is awesome to see. We do have more stuff coming, I promise. I know it's taking a while. With me traveling up there for the trip and all that, it just kind of, some stuff got put on the back burner, but we are we are working on adding more merch, more player-specific merch. It is coming. RJ from Yanni Gord, honestly, we've got to start better on time. We can't hope that we're going to get back in games just in the last minute. I think that's, well said from Yanni Gord. It just feels like they've been saying that the last couple games. Got to start seeing that. Is Yarncroke invisible, or is that just me? Earlier in the season, he was making his presence more known on the forecheck, and on special teams, particularly the PK. But yes, I do think for Horseman that Yarncroke is starting to slip a little as far as things are going, because he is one of those guys I try to look out for. But yes, we're not seeing the shots that we used to see from him. Remember, like, it was always him and Donskoy were always trying to create offense, and they were just totally snake bitten as far as getting a goal. Really, both of them have kind of mellowed out as far as their shot totals. Let's see here. A little new to hockey, but when a team shuts down the middle of the ice, what the Blackhawks and Wild did really well, how does a team get the offensive going? So that's from Elias or Elias. So let's see. So if they're shutting down the middle of the ice really well, generally taking away shots from the point and that kind of stuff, you want to do things to try to get the defense to have to move out of position. This has been something we've talked a lot about with the Kraken's power play and the power play struggles throughout the season. So I'll quickly bring back the whiteboard. If the Blackhawks in this case, right, they've got kind of guys all bunched up in the center of the ice, something like this, right? Obviously the Kraken wouldn't be quite set up that way. We'll get this a little more normal. What you want to do is basically, instead of just passing the puck, trying to pass through the center of the ice, which the Kraken do a lot, and then it gets picked off, and that's how you get these odd man rushes. What you'd want to do is, if let's say this winger has the puck, you want them to cycle in, draw maybe one or the two guys this way, and then he can pass it back to this defenseman, who can then kind of walk the line, try to draw one of these guys out this way, pass it over here. Now all of a sudden you've got this guy here, you've got maybe this guy totally committed off to the side, you're starting to get a little more room, and you just have to keep passing, which the Kraken are doing, but the other key thing is you have to walk in a little. You have to get them to step up, to come to you, because that means they're pulling themselves out of position. You do that enough, and generally what happens, we saw this with the Eberle, or it wasn't the Eberle power play goal, but he was the guy who did it in their power play goal in that last game against the Wild. He stepped up like this, drew this guy, and then the other player, which was Johansson, was able to slide in. He was off back here, and he was able to slide in. All of a sudden, that defenseman wasn't there, right? And so it's the same principle, whether it's 5-on-5 or on the power play. You have to move your body, because that's what the defenseman is going to play at. There's a very old saying, I've said it multiple times, RJ said it multiple times, you play the man, not the puck. That is true, and that's what defensemen are taught to do. So if you're moving your body, they are going to try to follow your body. So move your body, then pass. You've now moved that player out of position in the middle of the ice and open things up for your team. But good question. I like that one. I saw a couple of rough plays for Blackwell. Then I think he missed the last two shifts of the second period, and I believed all of the third. I saw him on the bench in the third. Tough start for him. That's from Brian. Yeah, I didn't notice him in the third either. My guess is that's just, again, him coming back from that injury, whether it's the injury itself that's lingering with him or just conditioning. He didn't totally practice full out a bunch right before he came back, so it might just be that he missed all of the training camp time and that early season time, so he's just trying to get back into regular season shape. That is one thing. Also, it could just be that the injury flared up again. That's been known to happen to guys too. Pretty sure the team hasn't won since I got my jersey. That's from Alex. Sorry about that, Alex. Yeah, I mean, we are starting to get to that point where we are looking for superstitions. I was hoping that me leaving Seattle was going to help them. Unfortunately, it didn't. That being said, I do hope you continue to enjoy the jersey, Alex, because jerseys are fun. I watch other teams cycle, and each pass is looking for a shot, where our team looks for the pass into another pass immediately. That's from Sergeant Pickles. 1000%. We are the kings of one too many passes right now. from Lindsay. Did the refs have their Thanksgiving turkey in the oven or something? No penalties till the third and hardly any whistles. They wanted to get home ASAP. That second period is one of the fastest periods of NHL hockey I've ever seen. This has been a thing, though, in these Kraken games, where we're not seeing penalties until the third period. We saw that in that Wild game, last game. Not really a penalty until the third period, and then they were just like, there was only one, I think. So I don't know if I haven't been watching too many non-Kraken games, so I don't know if this is just like a league-wide thing this year where they're trying to cut down on power play opportunities, or they're just trying to cut down on calling certain things. But yes, the refs did swallow their whistles in this one. Let's see. Got to change goalies, if nothing else, for the team's mentality, for sure. I do think Drieger needs to get in there for everybody's sake. Let's see. Everybody talking about the bad luck jerseys. Striatic, to break down a team holding down the middle, you can either pass or skate the puck through them. Requires huge skill Kraken don't really have, or try to get pucks on net and win rebound battle. Yeah, it's more or less kind of what I was saying. Let's see. Everyone smash like button with all of your vengeance and fury. That's from Sergeant Pickles. I did notice that uptick in likes. Thank you for that, Sergeant Pickles. Striatic, they won the rebound battle like that for their first goal. Yes, the other thing was McCann was not right up in the crease when he won that rebound battle for that goal. That is something that we have seen the Kraken run into problems with, where they have had guys almost in too tight, where they're totally in the crease, so the rebound bounces right past them. If you look, he wasn't here, he was more here, so when it shoots out, he can maneuver to it, collect it, shoot the puck. It's really hard to do that when you're right here, so the puck bounces right off the goalie pads. 99% of the time, it's going to bounce right past you. So that is one adjustment that he made that I think the rest of the Kraken need to continue to make as well. Time to give Drieger a chance. Yes, for sure. Need to make the opposing goalie move more. Way too many shots at the fully set goalie. That's in part, Alex, because the Kraken tend to want to settle the puck before they shoot it, so it gives the goalie the opportunity to move over and get more set for it, as well as defensemen and forwards to get in the shooting lane, right? We see almost all the Kraken's shots from the point are all blocked because the defensemen don't shoot right away. They'll take a step in, or they'll do something, and it's always so super telegraphed that they're going to be shooting, so the opposing team always has a forward right there in the shooting lane to block the shot. That's, again, something that just needs to change for them. I agree, Grubauer needs some time off, and like I've said, starting him in 13 out of 16 makes no sense, even if he was standing on his head and playing well. That's from Superfly. To Irish Lad. Okay, RJ's back. Gord was clearly frustrated. He had chances to say positive things about his own performance, but steered away from it. You can tell he really hates to lose. So, as always, it's good to have RJ for that. And actually, speaking of him, he is ready to join us. So I'm going to come over here, and real quick, we're going to load in RJ. So just give me 1 sec, everybody. There we go. All right, so thanks for joining with us, RJ. Been trying to catch up in chat. We were just finishing what you were talking about with Yanni Gord and him being frustrated, steering away from saying anything positive about his game. He did have a good game tonight. So you want to just kind of fill us in there?
Yeah, I mean, he's a player who certainly is, can be tough on himself when things aren't going well. And I thought he played well. He was even asked about that fight, and smiling the whole time. And we were all kind of hoping to get it's a good answer with that, and he just kind of didn't want to go there. But I understand, he hates to lose. He's one of those guys, and I really do respect that.
Yeah. Um, RJ, what was with the dump and chase tonight? Did anybody ask about that? Like that came out of nowhere for me, and I have no idea why they decided that was gonna what was that was what was gonna break them out of this slump.
Yeah, I mean the change tactically. I mean Haxtell talked a little bit, about it, just kind of wanting maybe a lower event type of first period and not wanting to come out and give up a whole bunch of goals early. I think there was that fear of starting slow, and giving up a goal early. Which I mean they didn't give up a goal too early, but yeah, I don't know about that approach. Yeah, I think we were all up in the press box, kind of wondering what was up with that.
Yeah, that one was definitely confusing. This is from Hunter. David Oddman Rush Hackstall has some explaining to do after this one. Doesn't even look like he's coaching at this point. Yeah, I mean, what else did kind of Hackstall have to say? Because there was some improvement, right? They looked better as far as pulling the goalie and looking good once they pulled the goalie, got a power play goal. But at the same time, you're seeing, as we just said, dump and chase. We got that weird version of the triangle offense going again. All three goals are scored off of like odd man rushes or breakaways. Like these are some of the same problems we're seeing game in, game out.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like he, feels that things are going as poorly as maybe we all do. He kind of evaluated the game, went period by period. He said he felt the first period was, they didn't give up a whole lot. It was kind of slow, but he was really happy with the effort in the second and third. Given the push that they put on, he's like, well, we just got to get that push to go all 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, I don't know that he's really, identifying the things here, really the state of things, and just how, what needs to be fixed. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of focus on the defensive breakdowns. He talked about how on that first goal, you just like, it's one where we got caught and they just made an elite play on it. And I think there's some truth to that. But yeah, and on the second goal, I thought it was interesting. He did, he didn't mention Grubauer by name, but he said that's one where you'd like to get a save there. And then just where you need a save somewhere along the way. And I'm sure you've talked about Alexiak and maybe how he played that, and Lausanne and kind of the defensive breakdown element of that. But he did call it a defended play, and one where you'd probably want to save.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, I mean, yeah, you'd love to see the guy who's literally a foot taller than DeBrincat and 100 pounds heavier maybe make a play there too. That would be nice, but I guess oh well. Um,
Yeah.
so we're pretty far behind on chat. Lots of chat tonight, which has been
Yeah, go
very
ahead.
good. So I'm gonna kind of lump some questions together for you. A lot of talk obviously about continuing to start Grubauer. We have to see Drieger in the next game, right?
Yes, 100%, 100%, no excuse. And I don't put tonight on Grubauer, completely. I mean, it's tough, not getting the goal support until very late, but just have to see Drieger. You don't want Grubauer's played 13 of 16. I mean, I don't think anyone in management would have wanted that going into the season.
Yeah. Speaking of Alexiak, Sergeant Pickles says he genuinely thinks that Alexiak's worried about taking penalties just because his hits could be like massive, right? Or at least misconstrued by a ref because of his height differential.
I mean, it's possible you have a bit more of a target on your back. They weren't calling a whole lot this game, so I don't think this is the game where that's going to happen.
Yeah. This is a good one from Superfly. Do you think we might be better off playing something closer to a trap style, almost like a Barry Trotz light type situation with the roster that the Kraken have?
I do think the roster is more built for that style of game, and I think there'd be a lot of buy-in given that they brought in a lot of guys who are defensively responsible, that have that instinct to them, like forwards that play a 200-foot game, or at least so we've been told. I just think it needs to fit the system.
I was gonna say my only concern with that Superfly is that system relies on when you have the puck offensively, you really try to make the most of that opportunity and you shoot the puck. And the Kraken don't seem comfortable doing that, so I'm not sure I want to limit the offensive opportunities we are getting.
That's true. You do need the killer instinct for sure.
Yeah, so I think that might be the thing that's missing from being able to do that. For this one, let's see. Vince Dunn leading the Kraken in ice time tonight. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
he had some long, like
that's
3
okay.
minute
Actually,
shifts.
That 24-24 was the final count. That is the most ice time he has had in a game in his entire career. That is a career high. I
Hmm.
checked.
Yeah, and I don't know. He needs to just play better in general, but he makes some really questionable decisions. The one that was killing me was with the net empty. The way I'm pretty sure it was him, right? Who steps up and tries to catch that pass that is like 20 feet in the air and lets the Blackhawk get behind him. It didn't result in the goal, but like, what are you doing in that situation? You're the only guy back. You have no shot of making
Yeah,
that play. That one,
you're not Alexiak. You can't you can't high point it at 8 feet in the air.
yeah. Um, let's see. Just getting to where everybody's talking about the Foco ad I did. Everybody is pretty happy with those bobbleheads. They are nice.
Great job, Dylan.
Yeah. Um, why is Hackstall still pulling Gru when the team isn't strong with the extra player? That's from Harley. I mean, I thought they did a lot better tonight. They were a lot more disciplined about it. They were a lot better
Yeah,
about.
and
Go ahead.
I think that is worth a mention. I mean, and that's something that they practiced last practice, and I was impressed with that. I mean, they really did a long hard work on it. And they scored a goal, by the way, on their first rep in practice too, like on a set play that they worked on. So it was an area of focus. I even asked Haxtell about it after practice, and he's like, just getting comfortable in spots, guys knowing where they're supposed to be, which kind of wasn't the case, the last couple times they tried it.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of Fleury being in the lineup tonight over Susie? Because I wasn't sure I agreed with that decision.
Yeah, I mean, you look matchup wise, I would think this one might be a better game for Susie to be in, and maybe the Minnesota game was a better game for Fleury to be in. Um, yeah, I understand wanting to get Fleury in there, given how he's played, but yeah, I don't know that tonight was the night to do that. He had a rough start, man. I don't know if it was the ice or what. He was just
Mm-hmm.
falling all over the place in the first period, and I mean, even ones where you wouldn't think it's any kind of mistake. He just kind of tripped over nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the deal was with that.
Yeah, no, it's one of those that's just I don't know. He had a rough last game too. Like he's really had rough games since that first Minnesota game. Like
Yep.
I can't. I think that was the last good game he's had. I would really consider sticking with Susie for a while here. Either no matter what, this musical chairs with the defensive pairs. I'm so sick of it. Let's see. Caleb Yost having a system. That's an interesting sports concept. Yes, the whiteboard has been out a couple times tonight about things.
Seen it, yeah, on mute, but I've seen it.
Yeah. There's always time for whiteboard breakdown. Yes, let's see. Let's try to get through. These losses are getting under their skin. In the pressers, got to show that emotion when the puck drops in the first period. That's from Scott R. That is something that you would think, right? We've seen it now a couple games in a row. The guys come back from the game and they're pissed off. They're ticked off about all these losses, and yet they'll continue to go out there and it takes 25 minutes of actual game time before they show up.
Yep. Yeah. And frustrated is the word you heard, a lot in the post game pressers. Just frustrated, frustrated.
Yeah, and this kind of leads to something I was thinking, and Hunter brings it up coming up here next. It feels like there's no true leader on this team because I do feel like yes, obviously Hackstall you would think should play a role in getting this team going, but at some point it is on the players themselves too, right? Somebody has to step up and be the guy that's going to try to get this going. Whether it's Tanev, just start the game off with a fight, just try to wake people up, do something, right? Yanni Gord could do something like that. I feel like there's several guys on this team that have the capability of doing things to try to kickstart the team, whether it's just with speeches in the locker room or with doing something on the ice early in a game. We're just not seeing anything.
No, we're really not. I mean, I thought the Gord might, kick something off there, but it's not his job, and it's too late in the game, at that point. Um, yeah, I just don't think I don't know, there's no one who's really kind of, I'm just going to take this into my own hands. We've seen it a little bit from McCann, but like I'm just going to shoot this and score an amazing goal. But I don't know, no one kind of builds off of that either. When someone does that, then it's on everyone else to step up and kind of try and catch that momentum. And you just don't see that.
Yeah. Alex Boost Boudreaux, please save us. Get out of here.
Yeah.
A couple from Hunter. I'm gonna put together. Hackstall needs to be on the hot seat, but that won't happen. That's not gonna happen this year. If they finish bottom three for the season, I do think that there's a good possibility he doesn't come back. But they're not going to do a mid-season fire. And then also from Hunter, upper management doesn't care this early. They're going to point to jersey sales and call it a success. I as we talked a lot about this during our podcast that came out on Monday. If you guys haven't listened to that, go give that a listen. I think that Ron Francis really was trying to have a multi-year approach to this, and didn't fully come right out and say it because, yes, you don't want to just say, hey guys, we're this new expansion team, we're going to be good in 3 years, so show up then. So I think there was a little bit of, I don't want to say misleading done, but I do think that internally this team is looking at a longer term approach.
But at the same time, I don't think anyone there in hockey ops or whatever, once they drafted the team and it was all kind of solidified, thought that it was going to be, as bad as they've been playing now. I don't think anyone really predicted, we're going to have like a 300, 300 win percentage team. No one was thinking that. So at the same time, I think even if it's a longer term expectations, I think they've still underperformed that.
Yeah, but there are also enough hockey people. Like Ron Francis has played a lot of hockey in his career, right? He understands that this stuff, this could just be a short window for something like that. They'll keep it in perspective. I think those guys.
Right.
I'm not saying they should. I think there is reason to be concerned, but my guess is that's what they're doing. From Sergeant Pickles, was that real that Geeky's dad bought the Geeky Squad shirt? We actually sent that to him. He referenced that he liked it.
Yeah, we went ahead and sent him one.
Yeah,
we did the giveaway, and he retweeted and followed us, like, to enter the giveaway. I'm like, you know what? Like, you're his dad. We'll send you one, And so he was happy to get that.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm fond of the quote, you want bread, you go to the store. You want goals, you go to the net. Kraken need to go to the net more for garbage goals and to take away the goalie's eyes. There were plenty of times, Lindsay, that I felt like they were doing that and the team just wasn't shooting. There were several times where there was really solid screens set up in front of Flower and they just were not shooting the puck to try to take advantage of it. It just goes back to that classic fear of shooting.
Yep.
Let's see. What bugs me the most about Grubauer, for all these breakaways and odd man rushes he faces, I've never seen him try to make a desperation save. He just gets beat every time. Total opposite of Fleury. No flops, no pokes, nothing. That's from Tom. It's just a different style, right? Like
exactly. That is his style.
And so in some aspects it makes some of the goals he lets in look a little worse or maybe look a little softer, but at the same time you don't have heart attack moments that you have with a Marc-Andre Fleury or with like a Tim Thomas back in the day where he's practically leaving the net open just so he can dive in front of it to look amazing.
Yeah, like I know on some of those breakaway ones it can look frustrating when he's just kind of sitting there and the puck beats him. But believe me, you'd be frustrated too if you did the 2-pad stack, lunge out with the stick, and then just got walked right around and it went in. Mm-hmm. It's a risk reward.
Yeah. From Lindsay. So I had referenced earlier that I haven't seen a lot of non-Kraken games. We were talking about the lack of power plays and lack of whistles in this one. And Lindsay saying, if anything, there's more power plays in the goal in this year from the other games they've watched, especially with the new cross-checking enforcement. I mean, do you have thoughts on as to why we're not really seeing penalties called in these last couple games? Either way.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's right. And I don't think it's really something in how the play has gone. I mean, there were definitely a few opportunities tonight that I felt, could have been called for penalties that weren't. Both ways. I don't think there was like a, necessarily a bias one way. But, I think it's just the style of the officials, that they've got, the luck of the draw that you've gotten for these last couple. I think that's just kind of how it's gone.
Yeah. Joey thinks it's because the game was on TNT, so the refs swallowed their whistles. I don't know. I'm sure TNT would have rather had that second period go on a little longer for an extra commercial break.
Yeah.
From Braun, hey guys, game mostly sucked. Hope you're doing well. Glad to see you guys are getting more and more viewers. I'm going to start getting lost in the sea of comments. We'll always find you guys. Don't worry about that. Brian took off a little while ago. Let's see. Without a superstar goal scorer, Kraken need to rush the net for rebounds and hack and whack at the puck more. Dirty goals count the same as a beautiful snipe. I agree. I just think they also they do. There are plenty of times where they're rotating through the slot or something, and they could go ahead and take a shot and have a high percentage shot, and they're just not taking it. I just think in general they just need shots. Like that's just,
Yeah.
I don't care if they're dirty or not, just shots. I don't know how they had.
I do want to mention though, I think Wenberg was actually a little bit more willing to shoot the puck tonight, which I was happy to see from him. Just everyone else wasn't.
Really?
What?
Because there were plenty of times where I was
Okay.
screaming at him to shoot, and he was not shooting.
It's a low bar. I saw him twice, like on chances where he wouldn't have otherwise shoot the puck. It's a low bar. There were plenty of chances he still passed up, but it's improving, I thought.
Yeah. References to your haircut, RJ.
Oh yeah, Yanni Gord wasn't the only one who got a haircut.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say for a second there that he noticed too. I was like, wow, good for you. Let's see. Everybody loves that loading RJ thing. Yeah, it is great that we got that. Let's see. This suggests a now loading Dylan transition that is yet to debut. We don't quite have that in the cards, but I guess we should have that at some point. Gord is used to winning, is being in Tampa. This must be hard on him. Yeah, I mean, when was the last time Gord went through a losing streak like this?
Yeah, it's
might be never.
A while for him. Yeah.
But at the same time, I think a lot of guys should be upset with that. This is from Lindsay. Is it bad that I think Dylan and his whiteboard would be a better coach than Hackstall at this point? I don't think that's bad.
Dylan's a great coach.
Yeah. They blundered again on the goalie pull with Grubauer and Hackstall not being on the same page. Yeah, so I don't know if you caught that, but the broadcast did show that Grubauer goes that first time, and then he's like 3/4 of the way off the, there, and Hackstall starts putting up the hand like, stop, don't come. And Grubauer just keeps going and gets off the ice, because at that point you have to. But it's just like, how is there not a system in place? After that Ducks pull, how is there not a system in place for this? Where even if he's just got his hand up, right? Hackstall just sits there. Yeah. You could be watching down here with your hand up, and when you're ready, just do that, and Grubauer will come. Like,
yeah,
it can be really simple, guys. But let's see. Good night, Harley. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. Hackstall in a different reality 4-11-1 is a problem. Hackstall living in a reality where he knows his job is safe. They're not going to fire the coach of an expansion team mid-season. Those last two from Joey and Autumn. I agree, right?
Yeah, he's kind of back on the whole, try and find the positives of things, try and spin it in a positive way, which you got to get a win to do that. I don't know, at a certain point.
Yeah, Autumn bringing up Seattle media is not going to drag him through the coals like Philly will. I think give it time, right?
Yeah, I think eventually. I do think with an expansion team there is a certain grace period that you're going to get. But I don't know if they can match Philly though. That's a pretty tough standard.
Yeah. Let's see, Joey. At this point, I'll be surprised if we win 15 games. I sure hope we can win more than 15 games.
It doesn't feel like that now, but once wins start coming, 15 is not a lot.
This from Clowney. It's time Hackstall puts me in the lineup. I'm cheap and I can do as bad as anyone else. I'm going in, boys. Wish you luck, Clowney. Let's go.
Yep. As long as you get in the lineup before Will Borgen.
Hunter, Seattle media is soft. Their questions are so predictable. They don't ask the hard-hitting questions. We are just the message just got retracted, so I guess I can't finish that one. Sergeant Pickles got to take off. Night, Sergeant Pickles. Can we get a tour of the media press box, RJ? Johnny Chaz is asking. You're not actually in the press box right now. It's behind you.
No, I'm not. I'm just you see the seats here. Yeah, I'm just up in the upper bowl section here.
Yeah.
But there's the arena.
Irish lad, given the car
popcorn over there.
Yeah, but when are you gonna try the big chicken, RJ?
Okay, we will get to that. We will get a Shaq's Big Chicken review for all of you, if that is what you want.
They've been saying that's what they want. At least that's what I've been making them say when I read off fake comments. Given the car crash of the season so far, how does this get fixed? I'll kind of refer you back, Irish Lad, to the podcast because I feel like that's where we give a more in-depth
Yeah, I
analysis
think we
of
kind of
some of
covered some
that,
solutions there.
as far as what Hacksaw can do, what the coaching staff can do, just ways of changing up the offense, implementing certain systems, working on the defense, the coachable mistakes, getting those out of there. Um, I think that we cover that on the podcast pretty good. Noticed a few times that guys went to finish hits when the puck was up for grabs. Hits are good and fine, but snagging a loose puck to make a play that could result in a goal is better. That's from Lindsay. I agree with that too. That's one of those things that, just certain guys have that mentality less and less in the league as the years go on, I feel
Yeah.
like. But the Kraken do have a decent amount of those guys that still kind of think that way, thinking about finishing the check. And, if they're going to be playing dump and chase, maybe that's what's being told to them by a member of the coaching staff, which would be unfortunate. Don't want to disrespect our captain, as I love that guy, but do you guys think he is hurt? He looks really slow the last 4 or 5 games. That's from Greg. What do you think?
I mean, he doesn't look as dynamic and like he's contributing as much offensively as he did at the start of the season. I mean, it's tough as far as what you can attribute that to. Sometimes there is a nagging injury. Sometimes, I mean, he's 38. It can be hard to maintain that like first line type of level of play when you're honestly just kind of getting up there in years. So it's hard to know what to attribute that to. But yeah, I mean, like contributing offensively, it wasn't kind of the way it was early in the season.
Which would be fine if I felt like he was focusing more defensively. But he does look like a player that is trying to do things he used to be able to do, and whether it's because of injury or age right now, he's not able to do them. And so he looks
Yep.
like someone who needs to adjust their game to that, which, all players go through as they get older. That's just one of those things. So, but hopefully he figures that out sooner rather than later. Autumn, honestly, not too bummed. Hockey's fun. I'd rather our team struggle year 1 than year 5. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that. I'd rather have a long-term upward progression. Um, I'd like to see Susie in and Lauzon out instead of Fleury. D outlets are slow and predictable. Fleury brings something that I'm not seeing from much of anyone else. That is the thing with Fleury, that he helps with those outlet passes. He will shoot the puck. He is a little more dynamic offensively than Susie or Lauzon, that's for sure. Lauzon, a lot of time with the puck late in this game from Lauzon.
Yes.
One whole shot to show for it. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But don't you want a different approach at the expansion draft, even taking on a contract for picks or prospects if this is a long-term approach? Yes, I just don't think he was able
Yes.
to.
I think he could have taken on a contract.
Well,
There were plenty of contracts that teams want to get rid of. For sure, he could have done that.
yeah,
I mean,
but
look at what the Coyotes were able to do.
right, but also they're not necessarily getting first for them, right? Like it wouldn't be like the haul that Vegas got, and so I think he was
Well,
managing
no,
then
but
the
you build
difference.
assets. I mean,
Right. I still
yeah,
think there are
we
some
can get
like
into that later.
I know. I'm just I think things were different there. Another game where the Kraken have a higher expected goals rate than their opponents. Yep. At some point, you would think the law of averages should kick in. Got to give some credit to Flower. He played really well and had some great saves. That was a vintage Flower performance. That is for
Oh,
sure.
for sure.
I did say this out loud during this game, and I know he was playing the Kraken, but RJ, I legitimately think of all the people in this world, if I was to run into somebody and like couldn't control myself without just hugging someone, it would be Marc-Andre Fleury. Like I don't think I could ever run into him in person and just not want to hug him. Like not just be like, "Hey, can I hug you?"
Such a likable player. He'd probably say yes because he's just that nice.
I
Um,
legit think he would. No panic. This is a
yep.
brand new team with the tags still attached. Learning to be a team, learn the systems. These players are good. Just need to learn and trust themselves, each other, and the system. Then it's a competition between skill, will, and puck luck. I would agree with that, except I'm just not really seeing the system. That's the missing part of that equation. Otherwise, you totally nailed it, DRC. But the system is the missing part. Uh, let's see. If security comes for you, run like hell. That's what you're getting, RJ.
Yep, I'm just trying to blend in right now.
Yeah,
We're
we're
good.
we're almost done here, and looks like Lindsay took off. Good night, Lindsay. From Michael, next several matchups are brutal. What's the key to avoiding a more catastrophic losing streak? It's just figuring out a way to win a game. Like I said, you got to start earlier. That's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, the quick starts. I mean, they've been talking about it. Haxtell's been talking about it. Quick starts, quick starts. It's really tough when you have to play from behind. A lot of these teams, they're skilled enough. You can't spot them a couple goals. Just don't do that.
Yeah, Clowny, the dump and chases our system works very well. Yeah, yeah. Aaron,
System.
Aaron, bringing up, think of how much this team would be ruling the sports media scene right now with the Mariners in the offseason and the Hawks and Huskies in the dumpster. It is true. If they had been able to keep up some of the momentum just from their newness, right? The media blitz because they were new, if they were able to really come out and win some, I think they would be all over the place.
Yeah, for sure.
That being said, just walking around Seattle or even the greater Seattle area, being out in like Gig Harbor with my grandparents, tons of Kraken stuff out right now.
Yep, it's still everywhere. I mean, people are still very excited about the team, and yeah, you see the Kraken logo all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know how to skate, but I'm about 2 defensive breakdowns away from flying in to protect Grubauer myself. How important is it that the Kraken be in a playoff position by Thanksgiving, RJ?
Historically, pretty important. I mean, if you want to look at what has been done in the past, it's pretty important.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, so hopefully you can, I don't know that they're going to be able to get into a playoff position at this point by Thanksgiving, but at least getting close and stringing together some wins,
Yeah.
I think would be a good start. All right, so everybody else, it looks like, is all ready to take off too. We'll call it quits a little over an hour. Thanks for all the kind words down here, guys. Daryl, Craig, DRC, Clowny, love it all, everybody. Glad you enjoy these just as much as we do. One last time, foco.com, links in the description. You can go check out all the stuff they've got there, those bobbleheads, masks, any of their Kraken stuff, and any of the other stuff you might want to get from there. Some stuff there for sure. All right, so that's going to do it for this one. Not tomorrow night, but then we've got on Friday night, Avalanche. It's going to be an interesting game. Avalanche haven't been off to a great start this season either, so
no, they're banged up.
There's a shot there. All right, we'll see you all next time, everybody. Thanks again.